Hi, this is Mrs. Robertson, and today we're going to learn how to divide decimals by a whole number. This is located on page 231, and it's Chapter 3, Lesson 7, page 231. The essential question is, how can estimating be helpful? Well, in division, it can be very helpful because you need to estimate how many will go into another number, and then we apply that to be exact, finding the products and then going on to find the quotients. When we do long division, it's a combination of multiplying and subtracting is what we do in the steps. Okay, let's look at our real world link. Charlotte, Aaron, Maddie, and Katie went to the movies and ordered snacks from the menu shown. How much did they pay for small popcorns? Well, they must have each gotten a popcorn because we're taking it times 4. A small popcorn is $2.45. Put that down. And when you multiply $2.45 times 4, the product is $9.80. Okay? Number 2. What is the total cost for 2 small packages and 1 large package of candy? Well, 2 small candies will be what? $4.50, 2.25 plus 2.25. And then we are going to add the large package of candy, 2 small packages and 1 large package, plus 3.20. And that will give you $7.70. Now for question number 3, how much do 4 medium drinks cost? Medium drinks, $3.35, 3.35 times 4, and that gives you $13.40. Any questions? Put the dollar sign in there. Now, what is the total cost for exercises 1 to 3? Well, the popcorn is $9.80 plus the candy, which is $7.70. Am I going too fast? Everyone able to fill their books in? Good. And drinks, $13.40. When you add those together, your sum will be $30.90. Now we're going to do this little model. Estimate how each person should pay if they split the total cost evenly. The key word here is estimate. I'm going to round this to 32. Do you know why I'm going to round it to 32? 30, yes.
So you can divide it by 4?
Right, because 32 is a multiple of 4, so I can divide it by 4. So 32 divided by 4 would be 8. So each person is going to pay about $8. That's what they're wanting to do there, okay? It's an estimate. It's not an exact answer. Now we're going to go to page 232, and we're going to be dealing with more exact types of things here. It says, divide a decimal by a 1-digit number. When adding a decimal by a whole number, divide as with whole numbers. Then place the decimal in the quotient directly above its place in the dividend. All right, kids. In example 1, they have 6 8/10 divided by 2. I want everyone to put your pencil on the decimal point between the 6 8/10 and draw a little arrow. You want to put that up there right away, even before you start dividing on these problems. It just makes it a lot easier. Let me zoom in on this a little more so we can really focus on this, okay? And they end up getting 3 4/10. So in the box you have 3 4/10 plus 3 4/10 gives you the 6 8/10. All right? Now let's do A, B, and C. We're just going to do these together, but I'm going to do them over here. So over here under the work zone, let's everyone put 7. Let's do this division problem. We're going to put the first number, it's the dividend. 7 and 5/10 goes in the box. The divisor is 3. It goes outside the box. Now, before I divide, I want you to put your decimal point straight up into the answer. Who can tell me, what do you call the answer to a division problem? Who remembers? What's the answer? Yes, it's a quotient. So let's put the decimal point up and where our quotient is going to be. Now, how many 3's live in a 7? 2, that's right. I saw you kids thinking you knew that right away. Subtract, bring down. How many 3's are in a 15? 5. 2 and 5/10. Write it on your blank. 2 and 5/10. Now let's go to letter B. All right, our dividend is 3 and 5/10. It's going to go inside the box. Just find a spot where you can show your work. Okay, and the divisor is 7. Before you do anything, put your decimal point straight up. Now, how many 7's will go into a 3? None. So I'm going to put a 0. How many 7's are in a 35? 5. So it's 0.5. All right. Now our next problem, write it on your blank, 0.5. The next problem, letter C, I think I'm just going to do it over to the right side is where I'm going to put it. 9 and 8/10 is the dividend. 2 is the divisor. Put your decimal point straight up into the quotient. How many 2's live in a 9, class? 4. 2 times 4 is 8. Subtract. Bring down. How many 2's live in an 18? 9. And our answer is 4 and 9/10. So over here, let's put down 4 and 9/10. Any questions? Okay, now let's go to the next one. We're going to step it up a notch, which you kids can handle. The decimal point in the quotient is placed directly above its place in the dividend. In real world situations where the division does not result in a remainder of 0, round the quotient to a specified place. Okay, so here we are going to divide 7 and 7/10 by 14. So they put the decimal point straight up. How many 14's are in a 7? None. How many 14's in a 77? 5. That gave you a 70. Subtract. You have a 7. And then you add a 0. I call them dotty dots sometime. And bring it down. You know what? They needed to move this 70. There's a mistake in the book, isn't there, kids? Let's fix that. That 70 should be there. There we go. Bring this down, subtract, and we get a 0. And the answer is because it'll go into it 5 times 0.55. All right. Let's go on to another example since there is a mistake in this example. And circle the mistake. It's right there. They didn't put it. They needed to have that over to the left just a little bit. Let's go on to our next example on page 233. Example, before we do the examples, let's do D, E, and F. So find a spot to do D, E, and F. I think I'm going to try to fit D right here. 9 and 48/100 is my dividend. 15 is the divisor. Put the decimal point straight up. Make sure it looks like a decimal point. How many 15's are in a 9? 0. How many 15's? Now this is where we use our estimating skills. How many 15's will go into a 94? 6. Let's try it. 15 times 6, 0, carry 3. Yeah, 90. That works out nice. So I'm going to put a 6 above the 4. It's behind the decimal point. Put a 90. Subtract. Bring down the 8. Now, how many 15's are in a 48? I do know this one. It's 3. 15 times 3 is 45. subtract. I have a 3. This is where you add a 0. I sometimes make them a dotty dot 0 so the kids know I've added it on. Add a dotty dot, bring it down. How many 15s are in a 30? 2. So the answer for letter D is 0 and 632 thousandths. Any questions? Okay, let's do letter E. I'm going to put letter E up here. 3 and 49 hundredths is your dividend. 4 is your divisor. Put your decimal point straight up. How many 4s are in a 3? No 4s are in a 3. How many 4s are in a 34, class? 8, yes. 4 times 8 is 32. Subtract, bring down. How many 4s live in a 29? 7. 4 times 7 is 28. Subtract. Now I'm going to add my dotty dots. Add a 0. Bring it down. How many 4s are in a 10? 2. 4 times 2 is 8. Subtract. Add one more dotty dot or 0. Bring it down and we have some happiness. How many 4s are in a 20? 5. Whew, got that one done. 0 and 8,725 10 thousandths. Any questions? Now kids, you can't just write the answers down. You have to be showing how to do these or you won't learn how to do them. All right, letter F. I'm going to fit that one in right here. That's 55 and 8 hundredths divided by 17. Okay. Put your decimal point straight up. How many 17s do you think will go into a 55? 4, I think, is too big. Let's try 3. 17 times 3, yeah, 51. So the 3 goes above the second 5, 51 goes under the 55. Subtract, bring down. How many 17s are going to go into a 40? Well, it's going to be 2 or 3. We know that 3 is 51. It's too big, so it's going to be what? 2. 2 times 17 is 34. Subtract. I have to borrow from the 4. It turns into a 3. 10 minus 4 is 6. And bring down the 8. All right. How many 17s are in a 68? 5. Let's see. I think it's 4. 5 is going to be too big. Let's try 4. 17 times 4. Yeah, that comes out perfect. So it's 3 and 24 hundredths. Are there any questions on letter F? Okay, let's look at example 3. Lynn is mailing a care package to his brother. The table gives the cost of mailing packages. If Lynn's care package weighs 3 pounds, how much is the cost per pound? Well, you just divide it by 3, right? Yeah, and that's what they did. Now, per pound, you end up, you get 2 and 246 thousandths. It says place the decimal points. Annex zeros means to add zeros in this spot. And the remainder will never be 0. So we just keep on dividing. So it says you round 2 and 246 thousandths to 2 and 25 hundredths. Because hundredths are the smallest denomination used in money. So do you see that? Hundredths is the pennies place, so they rounded it to the pennies place. So when you're dealing with money, divide to the thousandths and round to the hundredths place. All right, let's do letter G at the bottom. Find the cost per pound of a 2 pound and 4 pound package. Okay, so I think we are referring to this problem up here. Find Find the cost per pound of a 2-pound and a 4-pound package. We're using this chart. So for a 2-pound, you have 5.63. So how much is it per pound for a 2-pound? You divide it by 2. Here, let me make sure you can see that. 2 will go into, put the decimal point up. 2 goes into 5 twice. That's a 4. Subtract. Bring down the 6. 2 goes into 16 8 times. Subtract. Bring down the 3. 2 will divide 3 once. Subtract. You get a 10 or a 1. Add a 0. Bring it down. How many 2s are in a 10? 5. So when I round that, though, for a price, it'll be $2 and what? 81 or 82 cents per pound? 82. Because if the number behind our rounding place is 5 or larger, it rounds up. If it's a 0, 1, 2, 3, or 4, it stays the same. So that's $2.82. Now let's go back up. And a 4-pound package. The 4-pound package is $7.87. So $7.87. Put the phone on my desk. We don't have that. We'll take care of it later. $7.87 divided by 4. Is it off? You can check it in just a moment, and then we'll put it back in the locker, okay? All right. How many 4s live in a 7? 1. Subtract. Bring down. How many 4s live in a 38? 6. No, 9. 4 times 9 is 36. Subtract. Bring down. How many 4s are in a 27? No, 4 times 7 is 28. It's going to be 6. 4 times 6 is 24. Subtract. Add a 0. Bring it down. How many 4s are in a 30? 7. Now, we got to round it to the dollars. This will be $1.96 or $1.97, class? 97, that's right. The 7 will round that 6 up to a 7. So the answer for G, $2.82, and for a 4-pound it costs $1.97 per pound with that one. Okay, now let's go to page 234. On page 234 we have another word problem, and it requires 2 steps. Ryan and his sister are sharing the cost of a video game. The video game costs $28.60. If Ryan saved $20 to buy the game, how much does he have left after paying his share? All right. Why did they divide it by 2 in step 1? They have $28.60 divided by 2. Why did they divide it by 2? I don't see a 2 up here in that problem. Why would they have divided it by 2? Yes? Two people. Excellent. Ryan and his sister are the 2 people that are going to split the cost. So, you divide it by 2, and that tells you how much each person has to pay, $14.30. Now, Ryan has $20. $20 minus $14.30. He will still have $5.70 left after he pays his share. All right? Any questions? Let's do letter H, and then we'll talk about a few more problems, and then we'll talk about what your homework assignment's going to be, or classwork. Kristen and her 2 friends are sharing the cost of a funnel cake. The funnel cake costs $5.49. If Kristen has $2, how much will she have left after she pays her share? All right, what is step 1 going to be here, kids? How many people are sharing this funnel cake? 3, that's right. It's a total of 3 people. So $5.49 divided by 3. just thinking of funnel cakes. If you want a good one, Anderson's Orchard by Southeast Way Park has very good funnel cakes. They're big. You could share it with 3 people. All right, back to the problem. How many 3s live in a 5? 1 3 lives in a 5. Subtract. Bring down. How many 3s live in a 24 class? 8. Subtract. Bring down. How many 3s live in a 0 9? 3. All right. So, $1.83 per person. Now, back to the question. She has $2. How much will she have left after she pays her share? What's my second step going to be? Subtract. That's right. $2. I'm going to do it over here on this side. $2 minus $1.83 will give me my answer. Got to borrow from the 2, it turns into a 1, that turns into a 10. Borrow from the 10, it turns into a 9, that turns into a 10. 10 minus 3 is 7. 9 minus 8 is 1. Decimal point 0. Remember, when you add and subtract, you line your decimal points up. So she will have 17 cents left, right? Any questions? Okay, what do I want you to do for classwork and homework? This is what you're going to do for today. On page 234, you're going to do 1 to 5. Okay? Then, and I will give you those answers before the end of the class. On page 235, I would like for you to do the problems 1 to 9. So your homework assignment, page 235, you're going to do 1 to 9. Now let me check to make sure we don't have a house problem on page 236. I do not see any house problems on page 236, so that's what we're going to do. All right. All right. So I want to talk to you about the answers for the first 3 problems on the guided practice. The first one, 9/10, is very easy. Now, the directions did say round to the nearest tenth. In number 2, you have 56 hundredths. But if you round that to the nearest tenth, you're going to have 0 and 6 tenths. Because the 6 turns the 5 into a 10. Do you see that? Don't put 0.60, then that's 60 hundredths. 0 and 6 tenths. Who can tell me in number 3? Notice how you could stop. You didn't have to bring down the 4. You divided to the hundreds. What's my answer going to be when I round it to the tenths place in number 3? It'll be 2 point what? 2.0 or 2.1? 1, that's right. 2 and 1/10. The 5 turns the 1 or the 0 into a 1. In number 4, it says light travels 5 and 88 hundredths trillion miles in 1 year. How far will it travel in 1 month? What am I going to divide 5 and 88 hundredths trillion by? How many months are there in a year? 12. So to get the answer to this problem, 5 and 88 hundredths divided by 12. Put your decimal point up. How many 12s are in a 5? None. How many 12s are there going to be in a 58? I think it's 4. Yeah, that's 48. Subtract. Bring down. How many 12s are in a 108? It's going to be 8 or 9. Let's see, 12 times 8 is 96. 12 times 9. Oh, it's 9. Comes exactly. So the answer is 49 hundredths trillion miles. Okay, and then the last one, number 5, 4 dozen bagels cost $30. How much, I've written on that, much change will you receive if you pay for a dozen bagels with a $10 bill? This is a 2-step problem. First of all, how many are in a dozen? 12. There are 12 in a dozen. So how much change will you receive if you pay for a dozen bagels? Well, we have to figure out how much 1 dozen. Oh, I guess we don't have to know how many are in a dozen for this. They want for a dozen. So we're going to divide 30 by 4. And it will go into that 7 times $7.50. So for 1 dozen, it's $7.50. She's paying with a $10 bill. So $10 minus $7.50 is our step 2, and our answer is going to be $2.50. $2.50. Now go ahead and work on your assignment on page 235.